Duke Ike here. This is going to be a quick demonstration and discussion on how to be effectively dangerous at C range to your opponent, so that at that just outside of sword range, which is C range, we're still moving around our opponent and proving to them that we are dangerous to them at any time at C range because of how we're moving and what we're showing them with our movement and our sword position and our guard positions. So how to be threatening at C range. So the first thing I want to discuss is, and make sure that you guys are reminded of this, C range is where we always start fighting against our opponent. It's just outside of our ability to hit them, right? Kind of going around, we're just outside, right? And yet, it's really easy to get to our opponent from there, assuming they don't move backwards, by stepping forward just a little bit with the front foot, right? So I'm here. If I don't step, I miss, right? But if I just step forward with this right foot and then gather back to good guard position with my back foot, right? I've hit. Now I'm in B range, okay? See how that happens? Okay? Really important. So if I'm here, I'm always a threat, right? Okay? If I take a different guard, right? I'm also a threat, right? Okay? Just got to make that step, that front foot, and then that gather step with the back foot. Okay? All right? From here, thrust, right? Thrust. I'm stepping forward with that right foot, and I'm just at that range of C range where that forward step, that slight lunge, if you will, it's not a full lunge, but it's maybe a, I don't know, maybe a third of a lunge kind of movement. And I'm kind of here, right? Maybe half of a lunge, right? A lunge, I was lunging, it put me here versus here, okay? Remembering that when we make that step, we don't lean forward as we step. We remain perpendicular to the floor by gathering with that back foot towards our opponent, towards that step direction. So as I'm moving around my opponent, right, all those different dynamics of range. So here I'm too far away, so I'm not a threat, right? This is practicing ranging and practicing cutting from these different ranges and how to get there. Your opponent, especially your good opponent, is going to know right away if where you've put yourself in relationship to range is therefore not a threat in any way, shape, or form. I can be certainly a threat if I'm far away at what I like to call D range, but then that means a lot bigger step with my back foot to do a passing step to get to my opponent, right? C range for that step, back foot, right? Okay, that's another video from D range. I have that one somewhere in my school video files. But anyway, being a threat from C range means that you're always just at that range where with a bit of that step forward with your front foot, as you swing, right? As you swing, you can hit them, okay? Also remembering that their front leg, whichever one's closer to you, is even closer than their head and their body, and therefore my C range to my opponent's leg it can be farther away and still a threat versus to their head or their body. Arm kind of rotates and kind of flows in between those two ranges depending on where they have it, what their guard is, how they move it, etc., etc. But anyway, being a threat at C range is very, very important because you don't ever want to let your opponent relax. You want to keep them tense, and you keep them tense by being in that range, which isn't quite in that simple B range cutting range, but it's at that C range, which is instantaneously gets you to with that step to B range sword cutting range. Okay? Hope that made sense. If not, ask a bunch of questions in the comments or IM me offline.